10:10 Bible Study. Jump into the Word with us.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Will, and I'm just sneaking outside for a second, enjoying the weather, but I get to go back inside in a minute to be with my wife and my beautiful new baby boy, Noah, and I get to hang out with my mom as well. And so it's been a cool Mother's Day weekend because we've got to celebrate a lot. But I wanted to just stop and talk to you guys really quick about Proverbs chapter 9, because there's a lot of really good things that we can learn from Proverbs chapter 9. It starts off talking about wisdom as a person. And wisdom, basically the way that it lays everything out, she has thought things through as she invites guests to her house. And so she's built this really sturdy house. She's really thought through her food selection and all that stuff. And then she encourages people to be wise. Doesn't just tell them to be wise or what to do or anything like that, but encourages them to seek wisdom. And I really like what it says in verse 7 in Proverbs chapter 9. Anyone who rebukes a mocker will get a smart retort. Anyone who rebukes the wicked will get hurt. So don't bother rebuking mockers. They will only hate you. But the wise, when rebuked, will love you all the more. Teach the wise, and they will be wiser. Teach the righteous, and they will learn more. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Knowledge of the Holy One results in understanding. So here's the thing. Plain and simple, when it comes to this idea of wisdom, when we waste our time on people who are only going to respond with anger, or when they're just going to hate us more because we respond a certain way, we're really wasting our time. We're wasting our breath on those people. And Jesus even talks about in the New Testament where he talks about share the good news with everybody. But if you go into a town, he's talking to his disciples, if you go into a town and they reject the gospel, dust your feet off and walk away, but keep going on to the next thing. And the reality is that we waste a lot of time and energy on people who are just going to ignore what we have to say, and they're just going to hate us even more for saying truthful things and wise things. But the reality is that we need to encourage people who are seeking the Lord, and we ourselves need to seek the Lord, because when we do that, that is the way that we grow in wisdom. And wisdom is something that is sought after. It's not something that we get instantly. And when we take the time to seek after the Lord, it says fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Having that respect for God and taking time to learn why we should respect him. It's more than just going to church because we love Jesus. It's learning who Jesus is. It's diving into this relationship. And again, if we want wisdom, we need to seek a relationship with Jesus. We need to seek a relationship with God, and we need to seek godly people who can train us and encourage us. Now, it's not always going to feel good, right? It's not always going to be great, and we're not always going to love what we hear from people, but the reality is that when we take that time to seek after opinions that aren't always what we want to hear, but we need to hear, that is when we become wiser, because we're taking time to seek the wisdom of others. Now, I like how it finishes because it talks about this other woman, Folly. And Folly is basically this woman who doesn't think things through, and she's very brash. And I love the last verse, because here's what happens when we don't take the time to seek wisdom. It says this in the last verse: but the men who don't realize that her former guests, so it says, but the men don't realize that her former guests are now in the grave. And these are men who have followed after her. She talks about how stolen water is refreshing, food eaten in secret tastes the best. And so she's talking about this idea of taking the easy way to put this party together, that wisdom took time to really find out what was going to be best and what was going to work together and all that stuff. And so wisdom takes time. It's not something that we can get instantaneously. And when we seek wisdom, that is when our lives prosper for Jesus. And that's what Jesus wants for us. He wants us to be wise. He doesn't want us to just jump into situations without taking time to think about it and doing dumb things because it looks fun or because other people are doing them. So take some time this week to be wise. Think about what you're going to post before you post it. Think about what you're going to say to your parents before you respond. And, take some time to be wise, because when we take time to be wise, we become more wiser. And again, that's what God wants. So enjoy this evening, or I guess for you, it's going to be the morning, and we'll catch y'all next time for 10:10 Bible Study. Jump into the Word with us.
10:10 Bible Study. Jump into the Word with us.